Everyone, I'm Sue Ramsey McKittrick, Senior Strategy Officer at Alta West Capital. Thank you for joining us at our webinar, Mastering Mix, Unlocking Borrower Opportunities and Navigating Today's Real Estate Market. I'm delighted to introduce to you Tina Trama-Mayal. She is with Mortgage Alliance. She's been in the industry for over 47 years. She's been with Mortgage Alliance for over 2 decades. She has a team of 16 people. She's onboarding a couple of more. And in 2023, she won Women of Influence. Welcome, Tina. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Before we jump into our webinar today, I would just like to share a little bit about Alta West. We are a premier lender in residential mortgages in Canada. We've been in business for over 30 years. We have over 370 million assets under management in 2 mortgage investment corporations. We've never had a negative return in either of our funds. We have a very committed management team, a strict underwriting process, but also we have wonderful relationships with brokers, with the community, the real estate community, and I'm delighted to start this conversation today with Tina. If you would like to know more about our mix and our underwriting practices, please feel free to reach out to our team after this webinar. And I would just like to remind everyone that the information that we're providing in this presentation is for general purposes only, and it's not intended to be a specific recommendation regarding the appropriateness of Alta West mix for your particular circumstance. If you would like to explore the investment opportunities, please reach out and speak to a licensed dealing rep at Alta West after this presentation. With that, let's jump in. Tina, I would love to get your perspective on, as a mortgage broker, you've been deeply involved in the Canadian real estate landscape for over 47 years. Could you provide just what you see happening in the marketplace today for borrowers?
Well, and right now we seem to be on better terms with rates and cost of homes, but in my opinion, interest rates were going so high that it made it so difficult. And I find, especially for the young generation, to just put it together to even afford a condo, especially here in Ontario. And I understand in Vancouver, the cost of purchasing a home or a condo is so astronomical that I worry about that. I worry about my young clients. And I'm seeing more and more young couples come to me that I either moving out of the city core into suburbs where they can afford properties a little bit better, or going to the bank of mom and dad for support.
And getting some assistance that way.
Getting some assistance.
You mentioned Ontario and the challenges that young people are facing. Would you say in your experience that right now Ontario, and probably for the last 3 or 4 years, has been experiencing a tremendous amount of growth with new Canadians moving to the area? Are you still seeing that area grow and change?
You know what? Governments increased interest rates thinking that they were going to slow down the market. And it did a little bit, but honestly, it really didn't do the effect that they thought it was going to happen, and it didn't. I mean, as far as I can see from my numbers, we didn't slow down in COVID. In fact, we went up.
Yes.
People were not taking vacations, but they were buying condos. And it drove prices to a point where the young couples cannot afford it. It did not slow down that.
Yes.
People are still buying. We still are experiencing multiple offers. We still are experiencing over purchase price.
Right, right.
In my opinion, and this is simply my opinion, I am not an economist, but I have been in the industry a very long time. I think that our governments need to start giving permits for more affordable housing.
More affordable. When when you think, I want to talk a little bit about the borrower. What would you say are some key considerations for borrowers to navigate this current marketplace?
Well, we've had a shift. Our A clients, high beacon score professionals,
Yes,
have moved from becoming A clients to now being B clients.
right.
Why? Because the ratios are not in line.
Yeah,
The stress test is killing us, and I really don't understand why we still have a stress test. I could see the stress test when rates were low, made total sense to me, but now rates are high. We still have a stress test. And so we're shifting these poor clients from A to B, from B to private.
right, right.
I mean, the private world is a great tool, because it puts clients where they want to be at that point in time and for
Yeah,
a short term until
yes,
things realign, right?
exactly. And I think, great point that you make. With our lending practices, we have a team of underwriters who scrutinize deals and who look at borrowers in a different way than the banks do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it provides an opportunity for a borrower to have a mortgage for a short term to be able to go back to the bank and
Absolutely.
show them, look, I'm a good payer. Now I would like to qualify for some money that is less expensive. And we are kind of meant to be that bridge. Is that your experience with Alta West?
Absolutely. Here in Ontario, we are already seeing a lot of new to Canada people. And
Yeah,
these people are professionals. They're professional. They're lab technician, they're dentists, they are people that come with already a little bit of funds. With a mindset, I'm going to live in this country, I'm going to buy a property, I'm going to raise a family. They don't quite fit the criteria of the banks yet,
right, right.
but they are
They
intelligent people and they do understand that we have an option. We'll
that's
put you
right.
in the private world. I love the Alta West completely open product. I just totally
And
love that product because some of these people are almost there,
yes,
almost, but not
yeah,
quite. And so you put them there for a short term, you explain to them, yes, interest rate may be a little bit higher, but you're buying the property at a much lower price. Get in the market. And in 6 months to a year, we'll move you.
yes,
And
that's right. And I think that, as a lender in the space we're in, we can verify income so differently than the banks can. And you're right, our book of borrowers have really, moved up that credit curve. We're seeing so many with in that 600 to 700 beacon who are
mhm,
close to qualifying for a bank, but again, it comes back to the documentation. So we have other ways to verify their income, which is very helpful for a new Canadian coming to Canada. Do
and the
you
flexibility that you
and the
give them,
flexibility?
it's
Yes,
amazing.
the flexibility
I
with our
Until this year, I don't think I have seen a private fully open. Like
yeah.
that's gold.
Yes. And I think, Alta West we're always looking for feedback from the marketplace, talking to brokers. We recently had the opportunity to do a focus group with brokers and get their input on the products that we have available. Are they appropriate for the borrowers that they're seeing today? And are there things that maybe we need to add or subtract to our books? So I feel like our dialogue with brokers like yourself is ongoing to continue to be able to provide excellent products to new Canadians, to business for self, uh,
Yes.
individuals in Canada. Um, I'm wondering if you think that, talking about new Canadians, do you see more hurdles for them now than you did, even 2 or 3 years ago?
If I had to qualify them on the A side, yes.
Yes.
But the fact that we have options for them, no. Also, the fact that these new Canadians coming in are all mostly professionals.
Right.
Um, we have a, a reasoning when we present our deal. These are responsible people. And that's why the option of a B lender private world is a great option. It's not like you're walking into a TD, RBC, CIBC. They have the box, you fit the box, you don't fit the box.
That's right.
We cannot help you. On our side, we have options. And these options are the B world, the private world. I don't think so. No, I joke about it in my office. I say there is almost no deal that we cannot get done because
Yes.
we have different options on our
Yeah.
side.
That is an excellent point, and you're right. And I think, Alta West provides a lot of different options that you just discussed. I think that we have a quick turnaround time for brokers because sometimes a borrower comes in and maybe their financing fell through with somebody else. And so we scrutinize the deal, but we can often provide a turnaround very, very quickly so that you as the broker can go back to your client and provide them with a solution. So it's
Yeah.
it's win-win. I wonder
Absolutely.
if you would describe an experience that you had with Alta West and a particular client that you had. I'm sure our listeners would love to hear that.
It's funny you should ask this because in 2023, and because I'm an ex-TD manager, I network a lot with branches. I
Okay.
have a very good reputation, left on very good terms. So a lot of my business comes from them. This was a client that purchased a property, a new build. So of course, everything approved, approved, approved. By the time that property had to close, rates had gone up, the stress test is still there.
Right.
Property value dropped. So it was in the middle of the chaos.
Yes.
Branches called me, I step in, and on our side, I only had about 5 days to closing, and the builder was loving it if you did not close, because of course he would, you
Yes.
lose your deposit. And I
Yes.
could not extend the deal. Alta West stepped in, gave me a very reasonable rate, and closed the deal within 4 business days. The client was very, very happy. Very happy because we still saved the deal, saved the client down payment, saved the reputation. And guess what? You know what? TD loves me because I diarize these deals. When I'm able to fix that client's problem, I'll bring it back and put it on my side on TD books. So it was a
That
win-win.
that is win-win. And I love that you are helping Canadians. And I feel, we've both been in the industry a long time. I've been in the industry over 20 years, yourself 47 years. You've seen a lot of changes, but also I feel that our companies and our job is to assist Canadians to help them
Yes,
attain a real estate investment, which we both believe is an excellent long-term investment
absolutely.
for families and individuals. So I love that story. Thank you so much, Tina. Um, as you look back over your career, what lessons would you say you have learned in navigating the real estate marketplace?
Assessed, listen to your clients, and sometimes before you make that decision, listen to the full story,
Yes.
because even though you've heard what they want, sometimes what they need is a different story.
Yes.
Even though this client may be a B client, right now, the best tool is the private world because of
Yes.
the flexibility.
That's
You could
so
put a
true.
client on the B side, and the only way he could get out is with a bona fide sale.
Mhm.
And he wants to get out in 6 months. That's his mindset. Then you need to
Right.
be on the private world. So
Right.
listen, assess, and always do the best by the clients because
Yes.
those clients come back. If you do the best by your clients, those clients come back and refer your new business.
That is you make an excellent point. The client does come back and the client is ultimately happy and gets the home that they want. And I was also thinking about, the experience you shared with the previous client looking at a house and just how the market had changed in the time that they were doing the deal. And I think one of the things that Alta West does well, and it helps the broker and it helps the client, is we always get an appraiser to
Always.
evaluate the price of the property so that we know, back to your comment about assessing the market, assessing the value of the house. And sometimes we even get two appraisers because maybe there's a discrepancy. And in the case of your borrower, I don't know if we did two, but I think that it gives our investors as well confidence knowing that we haven't just looked at, let's say, an assessment from the city on the value of the property. We've got input from a real estate professional on the price of the property, which helps our underwriting process tremendously.
Absolutely. And especially in the case of that client, he was approved at a 65% loan to value at the
Okay.
bank. Well, naturally, when property value went down and rates went up, these ratios are out of line. They couldn't do it at that anymore. But on my options of the private world, even though we did an appraisal and the property value was lower, we were still able to do the deal because I was allowed to stretch my ratios.
Right. Right.
So that made it possible for that client to still proceed with his closing. But most importantly, what impressed me was the fact that the underwriter responded right away. I made
Right.
it very clear. I'm kind of old fashioned. I like to call my BDM all the time. Listen, can you do this? I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my client's time. Is it possible? Send the deal in. Within hours, the underwriter jumped on it. That's what made it possible for us to stand by that closing date,
Yes. That
right?
that is wonderful. And
Working
you
as a team is so important to me.
absolutely. And the team of exactly the broker, the underwriting team, the BD, everybody works together to help the client. That's what
Achieve the
we're here
goal,
to
right?
achieve the goal. Exactly. And I you mentioned that um, the deal had been approved at 65%. And I think that's another thing that is interesting about Alta West because we have the two different mortgage investment corporations,
Mhm.
one being First Place, where only first mortgages we can go to 75% max. And so that deal could have fit into the First Place mix.
It
This,
did.
the diversified MIC is a little bit different. It just again allows our underwriting team to work with the broker and the client to see where the deal will fit
And it
better.
gives the clients option. You
Yes,
present the option. I always like to get double offers from them. Okay, Tina, if we do this, this is what it is. If we
yes,
do it this way, this is what it is. Present the option. Mr. Client, you make the decision.
yes, that's right. I love that. I love that. You're empowering them to make
Mhm.
the best decision for their situation. I love that, Tina.
Yes.
Um, thank you so much for joining us today. This was a wonderful conversation about the changing real estate marketplace, and I am so happy to know that you are continuing to help borrowers and you will continue to help them into the future. So thank you so much for joining us
Thank you
today.
for having me.